Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Jay. Yeah, I wanted to do my thoughts on the documentary. Didn't we almost have it all by Whitney Houston about the life of Whitney Whitney Houston and her daughter, Bobby Christina Houston, Bobby Christina Brown Houston. I guess. And my thoughts of it. It aired a couple nights ago on Lifetime. I saw it yesterday on the repeat. Um, yeah, this documentary was very sad because I just feel like the death of um, both Whitney Houston and Bobby Christina could have been prevented, especially the death of Bobby Christina, had she not associated with the likes of Nick Gordon. I feel like Nick Gordon was one of the main contributors to her death. I feel like he was very manipulative. He used her in a lot of ways to get to her money, the fortune that her mother left behind her. He exploited the fact that she was still dealing with the death of her mother. Hey, Lisa, yeah. She was still dealing with the death of her mother. And her mother's drug use, and he got her into drugs as well. And the relationship was so weird to begin with because she was the adopted son of Whitney Houston. Basically, she was the stepbrother to Bobby Christina. He was the stepbrother to Bobby Christina in a lot of ways. So they should have been dating anyway. One of the things I liked about this documentary was that it didn't go down the road of the usual narrative. Yeah, he was a first cousin and a boyfriend. Um, I feel like that was done deliberately, Lisa, because she led a very sheltered life because of the fame of her mother. That the people that she would begin relationships with would be closer to her than the average person. It wasn't like she was able to go out on dates, go to regular schools, go to this kind of thing like regular girls her age. So the people that she was available that were available to her to go out with were people that she already knew, people that were in her family circle, as it were. But what I say about this documentary, it is very different than other documentaries, other stories that you might hear about Whitney Houston, is that it doesn't go out of its way to paint Bobby Brown as a bad person. For years, even when Whitney was alive, we always heard the stories that Bobby Brown was abusive, that Bobby Brown was the one who got her into drugs, that Bobby Brown basically was the cause of Whitney's death. I believe this was, I always believed this was wrong because, first of all, Whitney had agency. She was a grown woman. She was able to make choices herself. We get influenced by people, but It doesn't mean we have to take the choices that the people take. Just because Bobby was doing drugs doesn't necessarily mean that Whitney had to do it too. And plus, Whitney was doing drugs before she got with Bobby. And this documentary reveals that. This documentary reveals that with Whitney, that even though Bobby was the bad boy on stage, one lady said, Whitney was the rebellious one behind the scenes. Whitney still had the hood in her. She still had North New Jersey in her. She was still at a very rebellious stage, and it was the pressure. I didn't know that she endured a lot of abuse when she was young, like the molestation when she was young, and it explains a lot. They briefly touch on the Robin Crawford situation, which I have a video about in my archives, that she may have been bisexual and that she was struggling with that. The German, the guy Rudy, the last person that she said goodbye to in the car, she said, Rudy, I'll see you, after the Grammy thing. This documentary heavily hints that she was possibly murdered. Both of them were murdered because Nick was present at the death of Whitney and the death of Bobby Chris. So, yeah, I knew she had one miscarriage from the movie Whitney. I didn't know she had another miscarriage after Bobby Christina. I didn't even know she was pregnant after Bobby Christina. I knew she had the miscarriage on the set of The Bodyguard. But I didn't know about the other thing. I never knew that she went to rehab. That was one thing I learned. And that she tried to escape from rehab. And her rehab counselor seemed like she was a nice lady. She tried to really help Whitney with the drug problems, but Whitney didn't want to really get help. And I will say that Bobby Brown, in the documentary, it does say Bobby Brown wasn't wasn't that much of a help, because there's one incident that the drug counselor um, refers to, that Bobby Brown actually brought a case of beer into the into the drug rehab place, and they had to throw him out. So yeah, the picture was the drug den picture was a cry for help, and it's interesting how they parallel her and Michael Jackson's story when they talk about the incident at Michael Jackson's 50th anniversary, where Whitney was so skinny, that we all remember from 2001. That is the day that will live in infamy for Whitney Houston fans, for Michael Jackson fans, as well as for New Yorkers, because it was the day before 9/11 as well. You know what I mean? So who can ever forget that? The performance at Madison Square Garden where she was singing and she was so skinny, and somebody said, in the documentary, they said her and Michael's story was very similar. The pressure was put on them immediately when they were so young to perform. And when you have pressure like that, we're only human. A lot of times we buckle under the pressure and we allow drugs and alcohol to overcome us. And it parallels the stories of those two legends in music. But see, with Bobby Christina, That was that part of Bobby Christina was the part I learned the most because I didn't really know that much about Bobby Christina, her short life. And yeah, so you're absolutely right. Um, what they said about Wendy Williams in the movie is what I said in my video about the Wendy Williams movie. If you didn't know Wendy Williams from New York and you didn't know her when she was on the radio, you didn't really know the real Wendy Williams, the real bitch that she really was to a lot of these celebrities, especially Whitney Houston. Had Whitney fought her and beat her ass, she'd have deserved it. She was a gossiper and a troublemaker, and she deserved all the flack that she got from Whitney Houston, that she got from Salt and Pep, from Pepper, and from Puffy, all the lawsuits. Wendy Williams deserved it all. Wendy Williams is a different Wendy Williams than the Wendy Williams that we know from television. The Wendy Williams that New Yorkers know from New York radio was a troublemaker and a really bad person. The things she would say, the way she would continuously get on Whitney every single day. Every day on the radio, she had something to say about Whitney's life. You know, when you're going through struggles, you don't need somebody always pointing the finger at you and telling you how bad you are. You already know. Whitney was a Christian. She already knew that what she was doing was wrong and that she was struggling. You don't need somebody constantly pointing out your bad points. You already know them. But I'm glad that they said that the Wendy Williams of the radio was different than the Wendy Williams of TV because that's the point I was trying to get home to y'all when I said that there was really two Wendy Williamses in the video about the Wendy Williams movie. And that's what I meant. The Wendy of the radio is the bad Wendy. The Wendy that everybody hated, including Whitney Houston herself. Because she was a troublemaker. She was a troublemaker when she was on New York radio. It's sad that she went through the things she went through, you know, with her own life. But she should have had more sympathy for Whitney when she was going through a lot of stuff herself. But what I learned, what Lisa asked, what I learned more was about the life of Bobby Christina. Bobby Christina's life was extra sad because she was only 21 years old. And she was far more prone to manipulation than her mother because she had grown up so much in that fame bubble, that bubble of celebrity that her mom tried so hard to keep her from. But it was people like Whitney Williams and the press. See, the press in the United States and in the world, really, they're really evil people because they don't just report the news as they see it. They put their slant on it and they constantly dig and they dig and they dig at people. And they feel like just because they're celebrities, they don't have feelings, they don't have emotions, they don't hurt, they don't cry, they're not mothers and fathers like regular people. And that's what they always did to Whitney. They tormented her throughout her life. They made fun of her. They made fun of her struggles. They made fun of her hardships, not really knowing the root of the problem, not really knowing the pressure that was put on her as a woman and as a mother and as a wife to try and just have that normal life because that's what really Whitney really wanted. There's a part in the documentary where she says, talking about Bobby Brown. She says the one thing I wanted was to have him as my husband and just to have that normal family life, that normal life that a normal woman would have with just her husband and her child. Right, Lisa's absolutely right. She wanted to stop. She was like Michael Jackson in that way too, because and the lady and the one lady told her, the one lady was like, "Look, I got that one song, and that's the only song I performed throughout my whole career. You don't need to keep making more albums and more albums." But you know, these record companies, Lisa, they're so relentless. They don't care about feelings. To them, you're worth more dead than you are alive. They treat you like an animal in the circus to point at and laugh at. Not knowing that you're a human being too. You have emotions, you cry just like everybody. But I really love this documentary and I recommend this documentary. Wow, I'm surprised Clyde Davis would say that. And you know, Whitney finally found peace in her death in an ironic way because she never was at peace in her life. They would never let her rest. They would never let her just be. They would never let Bobby Christina be. And the press made the same mistake they made with the mother, with the daughter. They hounded her and hounded her and hounded her constantly and constantly. But there was one scene where her and Nick Gordon are getting out from somewhere and they're asking her to talk about the marriage, which they said there's no marriage. There was never a ceremony between Bobby Christina and Nick Gordon. He was not her official husband. It was just like the family didn't even sign off on it. I was surprised on how cold Sissy Houston was in the documentary. She said that she missed her daughter, but I just felt like she was really cold in the documentary. I just feel like this is a documentary on your daughter and your granddaughter's death, and you're just so cold. I found it interesting too about another legend that Whitney was connected to, that her life kind of paralleled, and that was Elvis Presley. Whitney was connected to Elvis Presley because her mother sang backup for Elvis when she was little. And she has an interview on YouTube where she talks about um, meeting Elvis as a young little girl. And his life was very similar to that of her, like Whitney's and like Michael Jackson's. Immense pressure, immense hounding by the press that eventually led to his drug use and early death. But yeah, I recommend this documentary because it gives a it's very tragic and it's very sad, especially when it comes to the part of Bobby Chris because you know she was so young. Yeah, I didn't know that either. So that was, you know, I didn't know Bobby Chris, and she called out for help. You know, and the one lady said it was very odd that Whitney was taking a bath because she never took a bath, a whole bath in hotel rooms like that. You know, the one I forgot the lady's name though. The one I guess she was white. You know, The one white lady talking. She was like, she found it odd that when he was taking a bath at that time. It was just a life plagued with immense tragedy. And I love the title of it, the documentary, because they almost had it all. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's a play on words from Whitney's song. I mean, album. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, Lisa, thank you for that. Um, but yeah, they almost had it all, but they didn't quite have it all. You know what I mean? Because the one thing they wanted in life, both of them, mother and daughter, was just a normal life, and they didn't get it. A lot of times, we as we as regular people, we wish we were big celebrities like Whitney and stuff, but I wouldn't want to trade places with somebody like that. Immense pressure, a lot of pressure on you. But anyway, guys, this was a fabulous documentary. Um, Not giving it all away, telling you every little detail. I recommend that you go watch this. Yeah, the reality show, Lisa. Yeah, even the reality show when Whitney was alive was terrible. Um, Reality TV um, causes the breakup of a lot of families because they pick at you and they pick at you, and it's heavily exploitative. Exploitative. You know what I mean? So Lifetime did a good job with this documentary. I recommend that everybody go watch it. Oh wow, no. It aired 5 days before the death of Whitney. Wow. I didn't realize that, Lisa. Thank you for pointing that out. Oh, her death is February 11th? Okay. I recommend that people go watch this documentary if you want to learn a lot more about the life of Whitney Houston. I enjoyed it. Uh, and I feel like it's just a cautionary tale of don't let fame define you. Like a lot of people say, like Lauren Hill is weird because she just walked away from all the fame and when she was on top of the world. But if somebody like Whitney had done that, like she wanted to, she'd probably still be alive today. We all have struggles, we all have hurts and pains and stuff, but when you're in the spotlight, it makes it 10 times worse. Peace, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And thank you, Lisa, for contributing to this video. I forgot some points, but you reminded me a lot of it. And it just shows you this documentary to hug the people and tell the people that you love them, you know, because you never know when it'll be the last time you speak to them or hear from them. Peace. Don't forget to like and subscribe.